Real life street stars, man. We got a situation. We got a situation here. We have I want to say a legend in the music business. We have the elite publicist, Jonathan Hay. Before we even get started, Jonathan, how are your spirits? How are you doing? How's everything going with you?
Everything's going good. Thank you. It's an honor to be here for sure.
Definitely, thank you. I know we try to get you here actually in person. And of course, we ran into a couple of snags. Again, want to make sure you're okay, but also we still want to be able to have a conversation with you, man. How are you doing? How are your spirits? Is every like you just said, everything's on the okay? Are you good? Are
Everything's
you on the up and
good.
up?
Everything is good. Thank you.
All right, definitely, man. For those who may not know who you are,
Mhm.
and the work you put into this business, if you don't mind, please reintroducing yourself. Let them know where you're from, and also you're just a little bit going into your history in this business.
Well, I was originally born in Florida. I was adopted, and my parents got me when I was 11 years old. And then I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, home of Muhammad Ali, home of Lamar Jackson, Jack Harlow, Louisville. And then as my career started while I was in college, I moved out to Los Angeles. And then I was just like everywhere, Atlanta, New York, and everything. But I was raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, definitely. Now let me ask you this first and foremost. Um, when you hear the words "the music business," what is the first thought that come to your mind as of
Corrupt.
now?
Corrupt.
Wow. To say that, to say corrupt, you must be pulling from something. What's the first image that pops in your brain when you say the words corrupt?
Jay-Z.
Ooh, that is the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Hay, what I want to do is, of course, for you to even be able to bring up the name Jay-Z, that means, of course, you must have affiliations in the world of what Jay-Z is. Can you at least let our audience know as far as possibly, and again, let's go down the rabbit hole here. What is your affiliations in regards to the world in the music business to Jay-Z, to Sean Carter?
So I go way back with him from the days of I met Jay-Z through a mill, and the former Rockefeller artist who is on a lot of his earlier hits. So that's how I got in contact with Jay-Z. And through a mill, and this is like a few years after she had left Rockefeller, or left the Rockefeller management, because she was signed to Columbia, I think. But that's how I got introduced to him, right? And then when I started to work and we would talk on like his T-Mobile two-way pager. I would hit him, and he'd hit me back about a mill and the projects that I was doing at the time, and I would pitch him some stuff, yada 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 yada. But we had an open relationship. So when Rihanna came out with Pon de Replay, and I was pitching Pon de Replay to journalists, the first journalist that hit us back was this woman from MTV. Her name was Jennifer Vineyard, and she worked for MTV News. She told me, she was like, if you can get, Rihanna was completely unknown. She was like, if you can get a quote from Jay-Z, then we'll run the story. So I was like, I even told her, I was like, yeah, no problem. I like talked to this guy about everything. He had been the head of Def Jam. He had been the head of Def Jam for not too long, right? So I figured he would easily give us a quote. And, he completely snowballed. He snowballed me. He wouldn't give us a quote about Rihanna. He wouldn't do anything, for her in the beginning. So then I'd go back to Jennifer Vineyard and be like, I can't get a quote from Jay. Obviously, I didn't say that. I was like, he's just real busy coming into his, position at Def Jam, yada, yada, yada. And, she still ran the story for us anyways, and that's kind of how it all began with her, you know. So so
So,
when I so when Jay-Z comes to mind, it's just like, like all the games throughout the years, there's just, we'll talk about it as the show goes on, but there's just been like a lot of, bullshit, and being around so many people in the industry who've experienced the same thing. It's just, and honestly, he needs to be in prison, but, and
Oh,
hopefully, with the stuff that, people like Jaguar Wright is speaking out about, people, stuff that I'm speaking out about. Hopefully that can get some eyes on some kind of, prosecutor, someone who will look into them and, see if justice can be done.
yeah, we've seen
Uh,
the same thing happen with R. Kelly as far as just,
exactly.
you get the right person to look in the right direction,
Exactly.
something may stick. So you, as is listed, if someone was to Google your name, Jonathan Hay, they'll see, you're as an American publicist and record producer. You start off as a publicist or a producer, or
A publicist.
okay. For those that don't know what a publicist is, because a lot of a lot of cats don't know, can you explain what a publicist's job is?
So the publicist's job has changed now a lot, and in 2024 with social media being so, prevalent, and artists are more in control, the newer artists and stuff. But publicists used to be the spokesperson, for the artists. They would issue the statements. They would, manage the press, crisis, crisis management situations. Were key, and like everybody, to contact the artist, they would contact the publicist. And that was like our job. But my job, I wasn't like the guy that like did like the red carpet stuff. I wouldn't, because there's like those publicists too who do the red carpet, who coordinate with the red carpet coordinator, and they do all that kind of stuff. I was more of the strategy behind it. Like that's what I like, is to come up with the strategic, angles, and the marketing and publicity behind it. So that was like more my job. That's what I was hired to do, to be that person. So that's what I would consider myself, as more of a strategist. Now some PR people, they like to, be all out there, like I said, and do the red carpet stuff. That's not really my thing. I'm more of a, you know stay in my own lane and just come up with strategy.
So one of your strategies was to say that Jay-Z was dating Rihanna at a point in time, right?
So one of the strategies that we all had, because Jay-Z wouldn't give us a quote, and because Jay-Z, and it was weird also because when I came into contact with one of the producers of Ponder Replay, he was like saying that there was a thing, between them. And he was telling me that, like, off the record, I don't care about talking about this stuff now, because I didn't talk about it for so long, and I got that reputation of being a guy who would put out the publicity stunt that Jay-Z was having an affair with Beyonce, and it was a love triangle, right? But that's why I'm coming out and talking about this stuff, because no, that's not really like how it was, right? But the week when Jay-Z wouldn't give us a quote, obviously everybody was mad. And so it was like, all right, well, we're gonna get his, attention anyways. Plus, like I said, that a lot of people were upset because it's like, okay, Jay-Z will mess around with Rihanna, he'll flirt with Rihanna, he'll be inappropriate with Rihanna, but he wouldn't give us a quote to help break the record. You know what I mean? So that's why it's kind of like, um, the strategy behind it was, let's come at Jay, and it was very aggressive, right? It was mean to take a shot, like, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but fuck Jay Z,
Yeah.
like lady, like, because he was too busy chasing, Lady Sovereign at the time, and who was a British rapper who was trash in my opinion. It was like, come on, man, like this, you have Rihanna here, You know, like this is your flagship artist. But like I said, it seemed like at first, like he didn't want us to be put on and be successful, right? It seemed like which was very strange because of how he interacted with her personally, which was shady. So it was just like, you know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
all right, fuck this guy, you know? So
Real life. This ain't real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real life. Real life street stars.